Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics, less known classics. This is episode number 1465 and Doubleshot number 1359. Now, this one, I have two Moon Knight trades. Yep, two of them. Excuse me. First one is Moon Knight Volume 3, End the Night. Yep, this is the final trade to collect issues from Moon Knight Volume 5. Yep, collecting issues 13 to 17. Yeah, this one's quite short for a story arc, basically. It's only a 5-parter. Though it does go on again by the next year. Yeah, but it doesn't last very long. No, it ends after 14 issues. Yeah, that one was done by Jeff Lemire. He did all 14 issues of that run. This is the end of Volume 5. Yep, the end of Volume 5. Now, this one is done by Colin Bunn. Yes, the first and only time I can think of he's ever wrote a Moon Knight book. And it's also, as far as I can tell, the only time he's ever Moon Knight himself. Of course, the artwork in this book is done by Ron Atkins, who does issues 13, 14, and 17. 15, 16 is done by German Perlitia. Yes, this is mostly continuing a lot of the stuff related to this particular volume, like the Mr. Knight stuff, investigating some murders, and he also has to deal with Ghost, yes, some ghosts, who turns out, according to Cthulhu, Katetsu, the god he worships, turns out these ghosts are actually his followers, because he is, in fact, Cthulhu's priest. And he doesn't like it very much, but he has to deal with it. Yep. And not a lot of anything else. He does spend a lot of the time flying on this like moon glider, which is a metal one. Basically, he just sticks his hands out like this and fly along that. Aside from that, not a lot of stuff happens in these issues per se. I gotta say, it's written really well. Like, I handed to Colin Bunn make this book a little more interesting than when Brian Wood wrote the book. I mean, Brian Wood himself is a good writer. I think his Moon Knight run was particularly very weak, per se. Yes. But aside from that, and the fact that Moon Knight does a lot of fighting here, does he kill anybody? No. And the one thing I do criticize this volume for is the lack of familiar characters aside from Moon Knight himself. It's set in New York City. It almost seems like, though, this volume is set in a completely different universe, despite the fact it has Moon Knight in it. That's the overall really big problem with this particular run. I mean, I'm giving my final thoughts in Volume 5. Is that this book doesn't feel like it's part of Marvel Universe as a whole. Mainly because the fact there's no... Well, I mean, this volume basically, I should point out, though, is none of his supporting characters appear in this book. None of his villains appear here. Yeah, none of them. Not a single one. Then how can you have Moon Knight without his supporting characters or even his villains? At least the volume that came out this actually featured his supporting characters, which only had two, Frenchie and Marlene. Feature them, fine. But that book had a good plot through with it, and that was by Jeff Lemire. This one seems like a series of sporadic stories. Done by three really good writers. First it was Warren, now it's been the first 6 issues of this run. Then the second arc was done by, of course, Brian Wood. This one's done by Colin Bunn. This is also by far the first one since the Mark Spector Moon Knight run where we actually have more than one writer. Because generally these runs generally have one writer on the book. Yeah, I'm not really sure what was the idea for this at all. I mean, this run wasn't around very long. It started in 2013. I think it was 2012. And it actually ended like in 2014. It wasn't around for very long. And then like right after Secret Wars, the book was relaunched again. This time number 1, again, for stupid reasons. That one done by Jeff Lemire. That one had a very good plot thread, and that was thoroughly enjoyable. This is just okay. That's the best way that's the best way I can say it. And for a conclusion of this run, it's pretty decent for what it is. I'd say for ending of a particular run, this is by far other ones I reviewed so far, which is honestly, I did review Volume 6, which was really good. And, of course, also I did review the Brief Renumbering that had a really good ending. I like the endings to the volumes that got the stuff that came right after this one. But this just feels like kind of weak. And I'm going to get this book roughly a 8 out of 10. And that's best rating I can give it. Sorry. Next one's a lot more interesting. This is Moon Knight by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev. Yeah, this is a little bit more interesting of a volume. Unlike the volume that comes after this one does have familiar characters besides Moon Knight. Namely, Echo appears in here. Yes, Echo, who's around for the first 9 issues of this very brief run. And you probably think, okay, this run lasts for 12 issues. Why is she only in the first 9? Because she gets killed. Yes, Bendis decided to kill her off for some reason. And she remained dead for, get this, you want to know how long she remained dead for? For almost 4 years. Yeah, she was brought back in 2016 by Charles Show. How she died here, she died while battling, get this, Count Nefardia. Yes, we have Moon Knight take on Count Nefardia and Madame Mask. 2 characters from Iron Man. Okay, and this is by far the most weirdest volume to date. Now, this run, of course, is done by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev does the artwork. And they do all the issues. And this one's by far the most weirdest one that around to date. Starting in 2011, actually ending in 2012. As a matter of fact, the next one comes after this one. This book, unlike the previous volumes, is set in LA. The reason why it's there? Because Moon Knight is trying to start up a TV show. And while he's there, he just happens to run into Echo. He doesn't know who she is because she's not the known character. And apparently she's undercover as a stripper. For some reason. Apparently Mark Spector blew her cover. For some reason. It's not really explained here. Now, one reason why I do like this run, unlike the next 2 volumes that came out this one, he actually had Moon Knight in his classic costume. The costume that was designed, I think it's Bill Sienkiewicz wanted to design this costume, the all-white outfit. Yes. Oh, yeah. And aside from the fact of counting the fireman I'm asking here, like, here's something I thought was quite strange, though. Okay, I get the fact Moon Knight is crazy, because that's part of his character, but why the heck is he hallucinating Wolverine, Captain America, and Spider-Man? Yeah, I have no idea why in the world he does that. Oh, and by the way, which Captain America is he hallucinating? Why, Captain America, by Steve Rogers, of course. Yes. Oh, and here's something quite strange, though. Apparently, Echo can see hallucinations even though they're not there. Yeah, it's revealed by the end of issue 1, like, oh yeah, these 3 superheroes apparently here, they're hallucinations. Created by Mark Spector's mind. And yet, somehow, Echo can see them. Yes. Now, Bendis does keep the fact she is deaf. Excuse me. And the thing is, they actually have her talk on the phone with Mark Spector. But he's asking I have this question. Like, aren't you deaf? How are you talking to me? Well, I can't understand what the heck I'm saying. I'm talking on the phone. Well, this is quite interesting. She has a device right near her that's able to basically put on a printed board exactly what the heck he's saying. Which, okay, that's quite interesting. I like that. That's a really neat thing. That actually is pretty true, by the way. But connected phone, that seems like really kind of big. Also, and I do a mild criticism about this, why the heck is Echo half the time when she wears this book, she's in her underwear? And we also have it where apparently Mark Spector is trying to seduce her the entire book prior to her death. Yeah, she gets killed by a mask by being shot. And apparently no one has any idea who she is. Like, Mark Spector can't come on the morgue and say, hey, this is Maria Lopez. She was the superhero Echo. And for some reason, Bendis doesn't write him that way. Like, okay. Yeah, for some reason. Also, he apparently has got his hands on Captain America's energy shield. Yeah, where the heck he got that? No idea. Also, unlike some other stuff basically for series, there's like no set of this one. Like, oh, we have Moon Knight in LA. for reasons. Now, I should point out, though, prior to this, I think that the last time Moon Knight was featured in a comic book was its tie-in the Shadowland. Yeah, that by Greg Hurwitz, which I was discussing the Vintage Moon Knight run in the video, which I do have out here. And after Echo's death, he goes after Count Nefaria, beats the crap out of him, and just leaves him in L.A. He apparently his TV show got canceled, so he decided to go back to New York. Yep, he went back to New York. Oh, and by the way, what did he do right after this? Well, this is quite strange. He went to the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning after this with the Avengers. And he got punched really hard in the face by Rogue for being a jerk. And he ended up in a coma. Yep, ended up in a coma. Excuse me. Oh yeah, and by the way, guess who wrote that? Mike Carey. Toward the end of his run, had just happened to have Moon Knight pop up in his book, and he gets punched in the face by Rogue. He pops up for 2 issues, and that's it. Yeah, just 2 issues as a tie into AVX. Yeah, apparently he's here with like She-Hulk and a few other Avengers, which I thought this was just so weird. Like, as far as I can tell, excuse me. Let's see. I think this is it. Oh yeah, I thought it was Mike Carey was actually Christos Gage. Yeah, he was. I kind of forgot he was the final writer of this book. Yeah, he pops up for 2 issues. Yeah, I thought this was kind of weird. The fact to have Moon Knight here. Because, like, he pops up here at the last appearing in issue 12 of his own solo book. Yeah. Which was released in April. This was released just the following month. So, 1 month after the end of his solo book, he pops up in X-Men Legacy. Where he's there with the Falcon, She-Hulk, Iron Man, which turns out to be a fake Iron Man, the Steve Rogers Captain America. Well, he's there basically with 3 people. Yeah, and apparently they're there just to kind of basically put him under house arrest or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, and She-Hulk, he gets punched by She-Hulk. And then he's not seen again until the end of Avengers Volume 4. Yeah. I don't really know why. It's kind of weird. The fact that here you have Mark Spector Moon Knight and like he basically misses out on AVX. Yeah, he misses out on this particular thing. Yeah. And then he does his own stuff in his own solo book. Up until, well, what happens in the pages of Avengers. Yep. This one in a nutshell was pretty good. I do like it. It has some problems per se, like where Moon Knight got the costume for Spider-Man. Yeah, that's never explained. He actually pops up. He actually briefly fights like Echo in a Spider-Man suit. And apparently he got his hands on web shooters. I'm thinking, is he hallucinating Spider-Man? How the heck get his suit? There's a lot of stuff this book never really explained here. And here's kind of the thing, though. When he pops up, it's like, oh yeah, I'm working on a TV show. Despite the fact, if you read this book, it got canceled. He moved back to New York. Yep. It is by far one of the most weirdest Moon Knight books I've ever read, but it is really good. The only problem is, it's the last book to be tied into the Marvel Universe because next time he has his own book, he just does his own thing, doesn't have any appearances by any of his supporting characters or any of his villains. I'd say the Jeff Lemire one is more of a return to the traditional Moon Knight stuff, along with Max Premise. The writers that came after this run, which were done by Warren Ellis, Brian Wood, and Colin Bunn, just do their own thing with Mr. Knight. yeah, that's what he does after this. Is basically like I said, does the things with AVX, and does the whole thing in New York. It doesn't involve any of the superheroes. I would think because he's in New York, he might run into somebody, but nope. He just does stuff quietly. Doesn't really interfere with anything at all, which I thought was kind of weird. I get this trade. Now, this one's a lot better than the Cullen Bunn stuff. I get this one roughly a 9 out of 10. There's a few stuff unexplained, but it's still a good book. I think Bendis does a great job writing Moon Knight. As far as I can tell, I don't think he wrote Moon Knight prior to this. Not that I can think of, no. I mean, as far as I can tell, he never popped up in the pages of Avengers. Not really, no. But technically, prior to this, like, well, we had previously Moon Knight involved with the Sig Avengers, and he left into this. Yep. But Moon Knight just does his own thing for like several years. Yeah, for about 4 years until he basically runs into Frenchie and Raoul Bushman again, which I thought was really cool. Yes. But like I said, the run that comes after this is a step back from the traditional Moon Knight stuff. And when Jeff Lemire comes back on board, it's back into the traditional Moon Knight stuff. This is just weird. But it's still good. I always got praise for that. Okay, so that's it for good view. I probably have one more comic corner to come and say. Aside from that, that'll be pretty much it. Tomorrow I expect reviews for, get this, How Realists Here Reveal the Kingdom after the first episode for that, Case of Atlantis, and the newest episode of Case Closed. Excuse me, okay? See you next video. Bye.